Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Anne and today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. So the original creator, I couldn't find the actual video that she did, but from what I've researched, the original creator is that Chami. I'll link her channel down below, but that's from what I have researched. If I'm wrong, please correct me down below so I can tag the correct people. But this is basically a book tag where they ask us a bunch of questions for the middle of the year and see how we're doing with our reading. So the first one is the best book that you've read so far this year. I've read really good books this year. I've had a few disappointing ones, but I think the one book that is my favorite of the year so far, the one that I think about constantly and that I really want to reread already, is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. I read this quite a while ago, back in February, and I cannot stop thinking about it. It is short. This is a novel following Constanta, and she is the bride of Dracula, and we're following her, telling us their story of how they met and how their relationship came to be and how it broke down. This is all in epistolary novels, so basically Constanta is sitting there writing their story and telling them through letters to Dracula. Dracula is never named in this, but it is very much implied. They are vampires and it is great. I had so much fun with this. Although it is a hard book to read, it is so beautiful. There is so many beautiful lines, and it's just so beautiful. I love it so much. Like, here's a line: "Those years are a dark smear across my memory. Everything feels blurry and hollow. Plague drains not only victims but whole cities of life. It freezes trade, decays parishes, forbids lovemaking, turns traveling into a dance with death. Most of all, it steals time." Like, this is such a beautiful novel that I love. "Your words were like splinters of light through the darkness of a tomb, the promise of a life in the world outside." Like, it's just stunning. Like, the lines are so beautiful throughout this. Like, there's lines that just make my heart stop and make me like stop breathing because they're so stunning, and I just love this book so much. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far this year. Unfortunately, I'm not doing too good on my sequel reading this year. I don't think I am anyway. I'll have to do some research, but I don't think I'm doing very well finishing or continuing with series. But the best sequel that I've read so far this year is The Syrian Sisterhood by Athena M. Bliss. This is just released as of 2 weeks ago, and it's amazing. So this is book 2 in the Sons of Echidna series, and we're following Lucy, and she is trying to find a life for herself. So she steps out into the world and gets hired as a nanny to take care of these children and their animals, and she turns up and it's a house full of monsters, and it's just great. This is the most beautiful found family. It has Greek mythology. In this one we've got Slavic mythology. The world starts to expand a little bit more, and it's just so fun. It's so beautiful. This book is stunning. I love that my light is making it stand out some more. Throughout it we have illustrations. I don't want to do anything that spoils anything, but it's just so beautiful, and I really need to tab this up and reread it because I loved it. I received an arc of this and I pre-ordered the book, and I just had the best time. It is so good. It's like coming home to this book, and I'm so excited to continue with the series when Athena starts to write it. But she is a Kiwi author, which is amazing, and I just love it so much. The next question is new release you haven't read yet but still want to, and I've got 2 physically on my shelf that I'm very excited to read, and it's Funny Story by Emily Henry. This is her latest release. I recently only read Happy Place by Emily Henry, and I absolutely adored it. It was amazing, and I'm really excited to read more from her. So this is the next one that I own physically, and I bought Pashi bought this for me for my birthday. I'll link her Instagram down below. You should definitely follow her if you love all things makeup, beauty, and bookish things. So from what I know about this, this is about Daphne, and she ends up in a relationship. She has this partner, and he has a best friend who's been his best friend for his whole life, and she believes that they're going to be happily ever after. And then all of a sudden, after they get engaged, he comes out and is like, oh, actually no, I love my best friend, so I'm going to go and be with her now. And she ends up having to then live with his best friend, so her ex-partner, and it's a weird dynamic. I'll just read the blurb because I don't think I explained that very well. But Daphne always loved the way Peter told her story. That is, until it became the prologue to his actual love story with his childhood bestie Petra, which is how Daphne ends up rooming with her total opposite, the only person who could possibly understand her predicament, Petra's ex, Miles. As expected, it's not a match made in heaven. That is, until one night while tossing back tequilas, they form a plan. And it involves posting deliberately misleading photos of their adventures together. Well, who could blame them? But it's all just for show, of course, because there's no way Daphne would actually start her new chapter by falling in love with her ex-fiance's new fiance's ex, right? It sounds so good. It's like fake dating, and I'm very intrigued, and this cover is stunning. I really, really love it, and I really enjoy Emily Henry's writing, and I'm very excited. And the next one is Feybound by Sarah El-Arifi. This is a sapphic fantasy romance from what I'm aware of, and it blew up all over the internet at the beginning of the year. And we're following two sisters. One's a warrior and one is a diviner. And when the one who works, the warrior of the sisters, gets exiled, and they are both forced into the wilderness, and they come across the actual Fae court because they are elves and the Fae court haven't been seen in thousands of years. And yeah, it's their story, and I'm very, very interested in reading this one, and I'm excited. Then we have most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I've got loads. I'm so excited for loads of books, but the main two that I'm very excited for is Shades of Smokes and Shadows by Celia Rock, and this is a fantasy romance, and I'm in the Street Team group chat for this, and everyone is crying over this book, and I'm very intrigued, but I'm definitely going to be reading this sometime soon. But the synopsis for this is: when strange marks appear on Clara Afron's body, this is what she fears most: the whispers and prophecies of nightmares and terror. After successfully ignoring the marks for almost a year, Clara is thrown back into a world of uncertainty. The ruthless king takes her into his castle under his shoulder's wings and has his staff teach her and train her, clothe her and feed her, keep her safe. But Clara doesn't know who to trust, not with her secrets or her abilities, much less her life. As relationships grow and power builds, secrets are shared, but there are more questions than answers, and the illusion of safety is shattered. Clara fights to stay alive, but her life quickly becomes a tailspin of beautiful, powerful, welcome darkness. I'm so, so intrigued, and I'm very excited to get to this one soon. And the next one is Sky on Fire by Jen Lyons. I have this as a NetGalley on ARC, and an ARC on NetGalley, which I'm very, very excited about. So this is a new series by the author. She just finished publishing the Chorus of Dragons series, which I'm very intrigued to check out. But this one is kind of less intimidating because it's not like a 7-book chunky book series. So this is a new it's a standalone. Oh, so it's a standalone fantasy meets Dragons of Pern for a modern audience. Enter a world ruled by dragons. Anna Rod lives only for survival, preferring to thrive in jungles of the deep with a titan drake she keeps by her side. When an adventuring party saves her from capture by the local worldwide Cicerone, she is eager to return to her solitary life. But this is no ordinary rescue. Anna Rod's past has caught up with her, and these cunning misfits intend to spirit her away to the Cloud Cities, where they need her help to steal from a dragon's horde. There's only one in the Cloud Cities. Dragons rule, and the horde in question belongs to the current regent, Neveranimus, and she wants Anna Rod dead. And it sounds really interesting, and I'm very intrigued by this one. So this one comes out in July as well, from what I know, so I'm going to be reading this very, very soon. The next question was the biggest disappointment that I've read this year, and I would definitely have to say this Silence of Lambs by Thomas Harris. I read this thinking that this was going to be my favourite book in the series because it's my actual favourite movie out of all of them. I didn't like it. I found it very slow. I found it didn't have Hannibal in it as much as I thought it would, and I just didn't really enjoy it that much. Clarice Starling was not my favourite character, even though she's really great in the movie. But yeah, I just was quite disappointed with this one, unfortunately. Biggest surprise, 13 by Steve Kavanagh. I had this on my shelf since before I moved to New Zealand, so it's been like 6 years, and I had this on my shelf and I read it for my TBR Veterans vlog #2. I'll link that up above and down below if you want to check it out. But I had a great time with it. I did start and I did feel like it was going to be something that I didn't like, because I did start it quite a few years ago, got about 20 pages in and didn't want to read it anymore. So I was very worried going into it, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was really interesting and I just had such a great time, and it surprised me so much. Favorite new author, debut or new to you author? And definitely Athena from Athena and Bliss, who wrote The Sons of Echidna and The Syrian Sisterhood, and definitely Kayla Grouse, who has written Trickshot and Puckshy. I read both of those. I read the first Trickshot in December of last year and Puckshy this year. Had a great time, both 5 stars, and the same with Athena. Both of these books are 5 stars for me too, and they're just amazing, and I'm very excited to read more from these authors. And I've signed up for Athena's Patreon, which I'm very excited for. I will link her Patreon down below if you do want to check it out. You receive discount on books, you receive stickers depending on which tier you sign up to, and you get free short stories and not safe for work art, which is amazing. I'll link that down below. But I know Kayla has quite a few releases coming out this year that I definitely want to check out. Kayla Grouse kind of writes more smutty, plus-sized main characters, with polyamory, queerness, and just so much good stuff in there, and I really, really love them. And they are more novella size, which is great. Then we have, the next question is newest fictional crush, and I definitely have to say Ares from The Sons of Echidna and Syrian Sisterhood. He's definitely my kind of man. And he's definitely my biggest crush in this. There's quite a few characters in this series that you can crush on, and it's just great. And as you can tell that I keep talking about this series and they keep adding being added to these questions and answers, that I love this series, and if you haven't read it yet, you need to read it. It is on KU, so you should read it if it's on KU for you, if you have KU. Then we have a newest favorite character, and I thought long and hard about this. I don't really connect to characters a lot unless they are really, really good, and the one that definitely sticks out to me is Carrie Soto from Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Carrie is just this wonderful character who has so much depth to her, and she feels like such a real person. And I know Taylor Jenkins Reid does this really, really well, like with The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. Like, you wanted to Google Evelyn Hugo to learn more about her. And I've heard the same with Daisy Jones and the Six. She just really creates these characters that feel so real. They've got flaws, they've got strengths, and they're just amazing, and I just love it. And Carrie Soto, I definitely think, is one of my favorite characters of the year. She just has so much depth, so much to her, and just the critique that she has on the world that she lives in is just beautiful. And it's a really good book that I was surprised about as well. Book that made you cry. I've got a couple that made me cry. So the first one is Your Soul Is Ours by Tanya Lynn. This is a very dark and hard story to read. It features themes such as suicidal ideation, self-harm, and it just is a lot. It's a lot for those of you who are not in the mental headspace for it, but this book made me sob at the end. It was so sad. Like, I was sitting in our tent reading while we were camping, just sobbing, like sobbing, that my partner was really confused as to what was happening. But it made me cry so much, and I loved it. And the next one is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. Straight after I read Your Soul Is Ours, I picked this one up, and again, this one made me cry too, and I was so mad because it was making me cry. But this again is another beautiful story. We're following Addie, and it's just really sad at the end. We're following Addie as she's living her life with no one remembering her, because she made a deal with the devil to live forever and to get out of a situation that she was in at the beginning of the novel. And we're just watching her as she's trying to make an impact on the world, but she can't, and because no one remembers her, and just following her story. And Henry's story is just heartbreaking, beautiful, heartwarming, and it just broke me at the end. Like, it broke me so much at the end, but I'm very glad that I finally did read it this year. Books that made you happy. There's quite a few of these. So I have The Song of the Deep by C.H. Lynn and A Voice in the Tower by C.H. Lynn. These are little beautiful fairy tale retellings where we're following the Little Mermaid in The Song of the Deep, and then we're also following the Rapunzel story in A Voice in the Tower. These are just so cute, fun, and a great time. I really love how the author has put such a twist on both of these stories, and they just made me really, really happy reading them. The next one is Love Letters and Thirst Tonics by Hayley Blackwood. I think that's the author's name. I'll pop it down below if I got it wrong. But this is a cozy fantasy where we're following our main character, Fiona. She has had problems with her shop. Things have started to go wrong, and the new guy in town has been hired by the mayor to help her fix up her shop. And we're kind of following them with their romance. It's not high stakes, there's nothing crazy happening within this one, but it was just so cozy and a really fun time. And then rereading the ACOTAR series makes me happy. I had a great time with it. And if you haven't gotten it already, but The Sons of Echidna and The Siren Sisterhood have made me so happy. These books make me feel like home, and I love them so much. I don't think I need to say anything more. The most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. Here we go again, guys. The Siren Sisterhood and The Sons of Echidna are just stunning. Like, look at these sprayed edges. So we've got kraken or octopus legs, and then we've got beautiful dragons with feathers. These are just stunning. Like, stunning. They're the most beautiful books that I've bought this year. No questions asked. And then, what books do you need to read before the end of the year? I don't have all day to sit here and list every unread book on my shelf, but the main few that I really want to get to is Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J Maas. This has been on my shelves for a long time. I've finally been rereading the series to finally get to this one. I need to get to this one. Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This has been on my TBR since last year. I did put it on my February TBR, didn't get to it. Put it on my June TBR, still didn't get to it. So I'm really hoping that I get to it in July, because I really want to continue with the series. I really love Nox and Naomi, and I really want to see them again featured in the story, although the story isn't about them. And we have Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I've heard many great things about this. This is basically the Hunger Games with ACOTAR or something like that, from what I know, and it is great. And I have Bride by Ali Hazelwood that I really want to get to. I've loved all of her contemporary romances that I've read. Love Hypothesis and the what's it called? Theoretically Yours. And I really want to check out her paranormal romance. And then the last one that I really want to get to by the end of the year is Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros, in preparation for Onyx Storm that is coming in January 2025. So yeah, that is the mid-year book free card tag. If you want to take part in this video, consider yourself tagged. Do it, whether it's on BookTube, Bookstagram, or whatever. Or if you just want to comment down below with the questions to the answers that I pop in, with the answers to the questions that I pop in the description box in the comments below, that would be great too. I would love to know your thoughts and your feelings on these questions and the books that you've read so far this year. If you like this video, give it a like, comment down below anything that you'd like, and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Bye.